Okay, so here we are again, and I thought I'll get this done quickly now while the weather is still nice and sunny. But I mentioned earlier I was going to drop a video on about self-checking. If you can think of a better name for it, then please let me know. But for want of a better word, let's go with that. Now, self-checking, what is that all about? Obviously, there's the physical checking, and we're not going to touch that for the moment, literally. But there is what I call your internal self-check, your mental self-check, your voice in your head. How's it doing? What's it saying? It's very easy to just let it run and let it go. And that is okay if it's running in the direction you want it to run into. However, what can happen when you suffer from anxiety, or even if you're stressed or tired, you can find where you have this thing going on where you're almost not even consciously using the conscious voice in your head, and it's rambling away, and that's when all the what ifs sometimes start to creep in, and the what ifs can be incredibly damaging. So what I want to share with you is something that I've been doing for many years now, and it was something that was passed to me from my instructor when I trained in hypnosis many years ago, and it's something that I've used an awful lot, and I find it incredibly good, and it's simple. It's actually really simple, and the technique goes something like this. As you get up in the day, you start and you have a pot full of you. So that's my pot. It's full of James. This is me, and that's where I'm 100% full. I'm empty. And throughout the day, you find yourself talking to friends, giving advice, helping them out with something, or you're dealing with something where you're driving, or you're going to the supermarket and it's busy, and all the time this little pot of you starts to chip away. And it starts to chip away in the background, and you're not even aware it's happening, because this is what you do every day. This is your life. This is how you run your life. And it's chipping away and chipping away. And then something maybe a bit more stressful happens, and a big chunk comes out. And what happens, and you tip my hands that way a bit so you can see it, but what happens is you're gradually emptying the pot of you, what you have to give for that day. Everyone's got a certain amount they can give, and beyond that, we break. Okay, yeah, so, sorry, I had to pause there because the dog decided he wanted to come in, and then he decided he wanted to go out, so that'll probably happen quite frequently. But what happens is, beyond that point, we do break, or we start to feel the effects of that stress or of that anxiety. Now, the thing is you have to start policing your mind, policing yourself. Now, what happens in people who are maybe able to cope, or they seem, you look at them and you think, how do they do it? How do they cope? How do they manage? How do they know when to stop? And some people will naturally be aware of their energy levels, or aware of how they're feeling, or when to take a break, when to take the classic time out. I hate that, but there we go. But it's a case of some people naturally can do this. Other people, it's like you're not aware of it, or it's something you've missed at school. I don't know. But I used to do it. I used to be running around, and helping everyone do this, helping someone do that, dealing with this, dealing with that, and then suddenly you just felt just like, what's happened? You're absolutely exhausted, and then you start to worry about things that you shouldn't be worrying about, and then you find it hard to concentrate. You find it hard to think, and at that point you're thinking, right, I'm either going to go to bed, get drunk, or jump off a cliff, because it's incredibly difficult. But what these people who seem better able to cope, if you like, they're not. They're no better able to cope than you or I. The difference is they're aware of their self-talk, of their internal voice, of what they're saying and what's going on. And they know the warning signs, if you like. Such as, you're really stressful and you start to overthink about things, and you think, oh God, but what about that? What about this? And they know that something inside them says, okay, that's it, stop. Take a break. You need to take a break. And what they do is they take a break. So they've come from here and they've come all the way down, and it might be 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and they've hit very close to zero. But something in them is saying, that's it, time out. And they'll go off and they'll take 5 minutes. They'll go leave the office and have 5 minutes fresh air. Quite often to have a cigarette, but they should come and see me about that. But quite often they'll have some natural coping ability, and it might be that they put down the pen and they go and make a cup of tea. And that is the key moment, because while they're making the cup of tea, they're switching the state of mind. They're going into the canteen or whatever, they're making a brew, they'll probably have a laugh and a joke, they'll probably curse, they have awful workers today, and they take that time out and they really sort of use that moment to come back from the brink and give themselves a bit of a boost. And then they cope for a bit longer and the day goes on, the day goes on, day goes on. And sometimes that 5 minutes can put you anywhere from almost zero to halfway, or it can put you almost all the way, depending on how well you use that little 5-minute break. It can even be going to the toilet. Go to the toilet, sit on the toilet. Yeah, even if you're a bloke, sit on the toilet, have a wee. But while you're there, just close your eyes and just stop for 2 minutes, just 2 minutes. And if you do this 5, 6, 7, 8 times a day, you will probably, I wish I could speak, it'd be really useful in the job I do, but you will find that it actually has an overall cumulative effect. And before you know it, you start to recognize those signs. And the signs to look out for are that you're getting irritated, or you're starting to worry about things more than you normally would. You start making mistakes, or you start to fluff your words. Might be like I do occasionally, but usually it's the wrong word that comes out, and it's usually not a good one. But there we go. But the key is to start to look for your warning signs. Look for your little triggers, your indicators that are your conscious and your subconscious is basically saying, hold on a minute. You're getting pretty damn close to empty. Now, the reason this is so important, and it's really important to practice, is because once you're here, or here, whichever way around it was, this way, once you're to that point, to zero, that's dangerous. Because once you're there, you start eating into what you do not have to give. And once you go below that level, getting from zero to half full to full is relatively simple. It just takes a bit of practice and some time out. If you're down here, this bit to fill is very, very hard. I know from bitter experience. When you're down here, you go to bed and you're just about recharging, and then the day starts and you're back. And before you know it, you're somewhere down there on the floor. So what I'm saying is, be aware of the little pot of you. Imagine you've got a little pot of you, and all the time during the day you're giving bits away and you're helping people out. And then some idiot cuts you up in the car and you're giving it all that, and you realise a bit more is gone. But watch out for those warning signs. Watch out for those triggers. And everyone's different. Some people seem to be able to cope forever. And they probably need to be quite careful too, because maybe they're not coping, but that's a whole other kettle of fish. But I think you can learn a lot from watching other people and what they do. And if you watch the people who you think, God, how do they do that? How come they're so good? Watch them, and you'll see they do certain things. Quite often they'll be in the middle of something stressing, and they'll be the one who will they'll literally at the desk and they'll be like, and they'll get up, and they quite often they'll stand up. And they'll stand up, if you're in a call centre or something, you've got the headphones on, stand up at your desk. People say, it doesn't do anything. That's because you've only done it once. Do it 4 or 5 times. Your colleagues will be looking at you thinking, okay, what are you doing? You know what? They'll soon follow suit when they see how much difference it makes to you. So look for little ways. Look at other people's behaviours. Copy them. Take the best bits from them. Use them to build you up. Because we're not all experts, we don't all know how to do things right. I don't know how to do things right all the time. I'm 46. I still make some great mistakes, and it's actually horrendous, but it's actually quite funny, because when you do make those mistakes and you look back at them, you think, okay, that was the wrong way to do it, but that's life. That's what it is. And you find that if you're on the top half of the scale, you can deal with it and you can cope with it. But when you're down here, it becomes so demoralizing, it becomes it's debilitating. And if you're in that position now, I would encourage you to really, really focus on the way you are thinking. So the little voice in your head, the one you're thinking with, pay attention to it. And if it starts going down a path you're not happy with, correct it, stop it, take back control. Take 5 minutes out throughout the day, 5, 6, 7, 8 times a day. You'll find ways of doing it. Watch the experts, watch the people who seem to just cope. And I'll bet you they are doing exactly that. You watch them and you'll find they're taking a little minute break there, a little break there, a little break there. And they walk out of the office, it's 5 o'clock, and they walk out with a spring in their step. You're walking out at 5 o'clock and you're scraping yourself off the floor because you're the conscientious one. And chances are it's because you care too much. And even though you may be struggling with anxiety, anxiety is, if you like, a form of caring too much, because you care so much about what ifs and what might happen that it has that horrible negative effect on you. So have a look around, watch the people who you think are good at coping, and you'll see what they do. Start to steal their ideas, steal what they do, and use it for you. And you might find you do one or two things and they work really, really well. You might do one or two things and think, that's rubbish. So try them out. So make sure you start the day here. I want you to be very conscious of when you're getting down to this point. Tip labs, you can see it, you're getting down to about 15-20%, because you don't want to go much lower than that, because it's then you might get caught up in something and you may not get that 5-minute window. So when you're down to about 15-20% and you're really starting to think, okay, I am flagging, the voice in my head's being a bit silly, I need to take time out. Take time out. Do it straight away. Don't delay it. It's too easy to think, I'll just take one more phone call, I'll do it. No, go and take time out. I'm going to swear, it's bloody important, because if you don't do it and you don't get into the habit of doing it, ask yourself this question. If I'm here now and I'm there tomorrow, and I go to bed and I wake up and I'm here, and then the next day I wake up and I'm here, and the next day and I wake up and I'm here, I don't need to tell you where that leads. So please, please, please do give this a go. I don't want to sound all serious, but it is serious, so I would suggest you give it a go. And if this doesn't work, let me know. And there's lots of other tricks you can do. So I've got this brain full of ideas and ways of coping. And these aren't just from me, these are from clients who have actually told me, this is what I found works. And I'm thinking, wow, that's really weird, but if it works, absolutely do it, and then do it more. So it's one of those things you think, oh God, do I, don't I, will it, won't it? You won't know unless you try, so give it a go. At the end of the day, what have you got to lose? 2 minutes? It's a no-brainer, I'm afraid. So give it a go. Think about the pot of you. Make sure when you get to about 20%, you do something about it. And it's a bit like riding a bike. At first, you're wobbling. You can't do it. You think, oh, I can't do this. And then 3 years later, you're riding a bike and you're thinking, I don't even remember learning. And our brains are very, very good at adapting, incredibly good at adapting. That's what we were genetically programmed to do, if you like. You think back to when you got your first job and you thought, oh, I'm never going to do this, never going to do it. And then 3 months in, you're just doing it, you're on autopilot. I remember when I joined the police in the control room, I started as a 999 call agent first. And at the time, there was 2 screens, keyboard, headset, and the calls are coming in, and it's just, oh my God, there's so much to know, so much to learn. I thought I'd never get it. 12 months later, I'm a supervisor, and I'm sitting in front of 5 screens, 3 keyboards, a touch screen, a radio pedal. I'm thinking, and you think, I'm never going to do it. And yet you do, because you adapt and you cope. And this is the same. Get that pot at the start of the day. Start being aware of when it's draining. Start filling it back up before you hit 0. It's crucial. Start doing this. Let me know. Give it a go for a week or maybe a month, and then drop me an email. Let me know how it's getting on. And of course, if you find it hard to relax or the anxiety is stopping you from doing that, get the MP3 off my website. Use it. It's free. I don't want anything for it. That's yours. So download it and blooming well use it, because it will really, really help. And at the first couple of times you use it, you'll be thinking, oh, I'm not sure it's doing much. Don't worry. Let it, like riding the bike, like the first job when you thought it wasn't working or you couldn't do it. Give it a chance. Start doing it. And the more you do it, the more familiar it becomes, the more practiced you become. And then once you're doing it consciously well, your conscious mind will hand that to the subconscious. And that is your key moment. Because once your subconscious takes that on, it becomes an automatic behavior. And once you've got an automatic behavior of knowing where this bit is, you're flying and you're away, and you won't look back. I promise you, you won't look back. Okay, I've waffled on for far too long. In the meantime, the phone's been ringing. There's someone gone up to my front door, and in fact, the dog has joined me. He's asleep on the floor. I won't disturb him because he's looking rather comfortable actually. I'm just waiting for him to jump up in one of my chairs and he'll get a kick up the bum, but there we go. Okay, so take that away, use it, hopefully find it helpful, and I will hopefully do a live broadcast towards the end of the week, maybe the midweek, with some more details, some more hints, some more ideas, some more free stuff. Just, take it, use it. There's plenty of help out there, but knowing what's right or what works is so hard. So anyway, I'll be adding to that pot, but I'm only going to give you stuff that I know works, okay? I'm not going to give you bullshit, because I could tell you, oh, sit there and focus on your breathing. Okay, that's only 10% of what you need to do, and we will talk about that because it is effective, but you need to combine it with something else. But we'll talk about that again soon. Okay, take care, folks. Any questions, get in touch. Follow me on the Facebook websites. Well, you know the routine anyway. Okay, enjoy your weekend. Cheers. Bye.